The challenges of finding appropriate edge-grained old-growth cedar became a major challenge. I'd acquired material that was very hard to verify where it came from, so it couldn't be used. Had picked up old gray ghosts, I call them, so they're either dead standing or fallen old growth cedars that have lived their lives and had amazing edge grain in them. Had them dried, and the material failed over time, which was a major challenge because there's not much of that material around that hasn't been cut down. And I was insistent that it be recovered or reclaimed material. About 2.5 years into it, we still didn't have material. And we're sitting, and we happened to be sitting in the coffee room of the shipyard, the Cowichan shipyard. And we gather here every day and have coffee, and I happen to be sitting in my chair, and Grant and Mel and a couple other people were in the room. And Grant said, "Boy, Arthur, you're a little bit quiet. Is everything okay?" I said, "Well, I'm working on this project, and the materials just aren't I don't think cooperating is the word, but I guess I can use that word. They just weren't suitable for the desk." And I mentioned the desk. He said, "Well, what do you need?" And I said, "I would really appreciate edge-grained, old-growth, recovered or reclaimed cedar." "Well, I think I have exactly what you need." "Pardon me?" He said, "I think I have exactly what you need." Mel and I were phoned by a friend that did a lot of work for us, and had these old growth, dead gray ghosts on a property, and they were on a burn pile, and they had already had burn marks in them, and asked if they would like them. And so they drove over to his property and latched onto these pieces and took them home, because they were perfect material for doing a boat. Edge-grained, old-growth cedar is absolutely wonderful for planking on a boat. So they milled it, and it sat in the shipyard here for 20 years. And I said, "Well, you know, where is it?" And he said, "Well, it was here. As a matter of fact, it was upstairs in what is now your gallery, and we moved it all out. As a matter of fact, you helped carry it out." We jumped in the vehicle and drove down to his place, and we climbed up ladder, and he opened the barn doors, and it was really quite overwhelming, because you see these absolutely wonderful piles of cedar, all air dried, and I went up and climbed into it, and we had a look at them, and there's these amazing thick 12 to 14 inch wide boards that are absolutely perfectly dried. and he said, well, you take whatever you need. I just thanked him very much. And we loaded the material down onto the top of the truck and drove it over to Octopus Point, who have donated, guys donated after work every day for as long as it takes to build the desk. This amazing shop. So we drove it over there and we took it in, and I said to Scott, who has donated almost 200 hours of his time to assist in building the desk, a very wonderful young man, and his expertise was incredibly appreciated. I said, I'd really like to just lightly sand these, just to see what the material's like in them. I don't want to take too much material off. And so we ran them through this huge sander. And as we were peeling the rough cut off, came down to the edge grain. And boy, they're absolutely incredibly beautiful and beyond appropriate. I can't possibly tell you how grateful that I am. But the feeling of the material, you know, coming together and more than enough to do the entire desk in edge-grained, old-growth, recovered materials. It was a real blessing. So that old tree that was on a burn pile, you know, has a new life as the Premier's desk and sits in the Premier's desk, in the Premier's office today.